Hey, welcome back to PCM Yeti episode 115. We're at the San Sebastian Classic with just over 60 kilometers left in this one. Free Salam going to get water one final time. There's already a group out the back, and the tempo has been rather high. With that in consideration, the two climbs to come can be pretty damaging. One, we definitely do not have our A team at this race. A lot of our A team type riders literally just finished up the Tour de France here pretty recently, and a lot of them are heading straight into La Vuelta, so we are just giving them the time off in between. Also, the race day condition draw certainly could have been better. The expectation was a -2. We've got, I think, a -5 or a -6. So the net is definitely on the negative side. We're losing ground a little too fast, even with an 83 as the given. So we're going to have to step that up a bit. The hold position. Pick roll not holding position well at all. He's already almost out the back, even with an 88 effort. Free Salam, Harasim. Okay, one of those was because of the water, but Harasim is not he's my unprotected rider. Struggling to hang on. A little bit flatter section. They make up some ground here pretty quickly, but they are pretty fatigued as we continue on with the climb. Doing a lot more damage than I expected it to, but that lift in tempo to chase down the breakaway has really put the field and our weak group of riders under some pressure. Pick roll. Young. Yeah, we're gonna hang in there, it looks like, for this climb, but only just. Some riders got dropped, not many. And considering how weak we're looking, today is not looking like the kind of day to get a victory. Not sure we're going to be terribly competitive, but the front group does lose a couple of its riders and is down to just a 1 minute advantage from over 3 at the base of the climb. So they've been brought back pretty rapidly, and there's a very good chance that when contact winds up being made at the early stage of this next climb, we could see the tempo lift and allow for some recovery. But Young is nearly done. Free Salon is nearly done. Puck is nearly done. The Domestiques. But even then, Harasim is nearly done and well out of position. Young was protecting Panamar, so Harasim, let's go ahead and follow Panamar so that we can take over. We'll gel up as well. We'll take over when Young inevitably does not make it back, which has already happened. There you go, first two guys out the back. Down to 134. Puck, he's out. Harasim, he's about to be out. Pick roll, he's out. We're down to 2. Abdullah and Panamar, and they are losing ground this time where they were not losing ground before, but part of that's because they were the only 2 that I didn't have to up the effort on. Breakaway's already been caught. We're seeing splits. We're seeing a small peloton of 38 riders, and it's just ahead of Abdullah. Panamar, go ahead and follow Abdullah. There's still a bit of climbing to do here, but if this group is going to regain contact, or at least our 2 guys are going to regain contact and have any sort of effect on the race, yeah, those guys are now long gone, not just a little gone. But considering how tired our 2 guys are, it's no surprise. Now there's just 9, so we've left behind a good amount of the guys. Panamar's going to have to sit on and hope that somebody can pull us back up there. We are about to crest, but Panamar went backwards pretty rapidly and finds himself out of contention. Not today. Today is not that day. Gatcher takes the win ahead of Pidcock, Martinez, Herzog, Sivikov. We're not going to crack the top 20. In fact, we're going to be well down the order. 70th is our highest finisher today, but our best climber was a 70, and when they decided that they were going to ride those couple of hills hard, we had no chance, especially with really poor race day condition. The guys who had positive race day condition were the worst climbers. The best climbers, the best punchers, had the worst race day condition, adding to the zero hope for the day. Many of the biggest signings have already taken place, even though it's only the 10th of August. We're down to a single 6-star guy and just 4 5.5-star guys. You still do have a pretty healthy amount of 5-star guys, and of course that is what we are led by. So there's still opportunity to move down, but speaking of move down, we've already dropped to 9th, which actually is not as low as we would be or should be as of a week ago. Our new highest rated writer from 4.5 stars jumping to a high 5-star end with a pretty significant increase to his sprint capability. Vasilevsky is now an 80 sprint with 77 flat, 75 resistance, but still lacks stamina. Acceleration is only a 75. So this is another one of those, like Shaw, a little bit of an empty shell of a sprinter. He does have a little potential to be somewhat more well-rounded than Shaw, but he's not a good climber or anything like that. So he versus Shaw, see how Shaw is a little more limited, but we've already kind of built in the climbing legs. He's a little bit stronger climber. Top speed wise, Shaw is 1 behind, but he's 4 ahead on acceleration, which puts them about level. Flat is 72 versus 77, so Vasilevsky can actually handle the build up and staying in line a little easier. He might be our top sprinter now. For one thing, he does have victories, 7 of them, where Shaw does not. Shaw just has 3 career victories. At this point, I think Vasilevsky could be the guy, even though he's almost maxed out, and Shaw very much still has some ways to go on his weapon as it's just 22 versus a 24-year-old. But it does raise our profile slightly more as he went to the top of our list ahead of Lind, but he does come in behind Sorensen. So Lindqvist, who he brought on, actually drops out of that top 3. Makes me all the happier that I did not overdo it on overpaying for guys. I mean, in the end, we overpaid by a good 40,000 on the signings that we did manage to bring in. Tadome was not overpaid for. Shaw was not overpaid for, but Sorensen most definitely was. Lindqvist most definitely was. Both, by the way, Vasilevsky and Lind both have expiring contracts next year. Palmer was a little bit overpaid for. Montez was good. We got him within. Bammert was a little bit higher than he would have been, 1,000 or 2. Palmer maybe 3,000 higher, and G was good. Ortiz was good. So the guys that were on yellow, we definitely overpaid for them. Overall, that's probably closer to 50K. 50K that would have been wasted, but until we reach World Tour, the limitations because of the dossiers and just how uninterested everybody is in dropping down to Continental Pro as they would see it. So we have to make that push to get to World Tour, and that's why I'm glad I really only went for 2 big contracts to make that push. And then, ironically, 2 guys go and level up for us and eclipse Shaw and raise the profile to where we might have made it anyway. But with Sorensen and their level ups, it seems the odds are very good. And looking at that list after just a week, we're looking at not that many guys left. And sure, we'll drop some, but I think we are finally going to see a World Tour position be ours. Tour of Polonia now, stage 2. Punchy finish on this one. 3 short punchy climbs. Starting now. The breakaway's already been caught. We're trying to conserve some energy, but we can only conserve so much. High pace puck in particular needs to really speed up here. He's the unprotected rider. Second climb. Definitely the steepest and longest of them. Hold on. These guys need to up their effort as well. Okay, pick roll a little bit more. Full peloton together, but we are definitely drifting towards the back end. It's still showing us in the middle though. Splits are expected, and splits have occurred. Our entire group in A1 for now. We are off back, and there's only 20. So contact is made before we get to the 3rd climb. Our position already improved a bit there. This climb a little easier. We're past the steep part. So from here, we should begin recovery towards the front, and we've got our entire team for the final sequence. We are going to need a little bit of time for them to all get back up into position, though. But that process begins now. Salah and Young will not last long when tasked with leading, but we're going to be able to get out front, push, and get into the final climb, which is less than 2 kilometers long, but it's going to require at least a few punchers, which we are set to have. So now we need Young and Salah to gel. 10k to go. They should be already moving, but these guys are still getting into place. Puck's the last one. Let's give them... There we go. That's going to do it. On we go. So Salah to lead us out. We want to go flat out all the way to the finish. Or at least to the base of the climb anyway. Put the rest of the field under pressure for these last 7k and hope that these guys are not protected. 6k to go to the finish, so we'll get Puck's gel also done. As soon as Salah is out of energy, we will move on to Harasim. No use waiting, it's already inside 5k. Pick roll, gel. Pick roll, Abdullah, Free Salam, the punchers of the day, and they actually have positive race day condition. We have a neutral race day condition as a team. Final 3k, final gels. That's it for Harasim. On to Young. We are comfortably out front. We are putting the field under pressure, and we're at 1.7. On to Young and Puck before we even go forward. On to Puck now. Leading out for us. On to pick roll. Final 500 meters, so full out from here. Abdullah, Free Salam. We're going to get second, or can Abdullah come through? It looks like it's going to be a second place. He's not going to get the throw. Lescano gets there first. It's a second and a third. Lescano had just enough in the tank, and I did go a little bit late there. I was hoping to be down to 3 riders at the base of that. We were still at 5. We very quickly went through 2 guys and definitely went early on it, but we very quickly went through about 500 meters before I got onto that 3rd guy down the line. So our nice advanced position, Lescano had already overcome it. Came back at him pretty hard and fast there in the final 50 meters, but it was a little too late. I needed to go that little bit earlier. Those guys held on. Actually, really, the big thing was I wasn't going to wait until 8.8 kilometers to set up my train. I was going to do so at about 10 to 12. That would have set me up a little bit better with the 99 coming earlier, but because of the whoop-de-whoops and how long it took us to get back into position there at the end, we got in position a few kilometers late, which got us started late. At that point, I probably should have just dropped a guy or 2, but miscalculation on my part, and we end up a double podium. 3 in a row, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. We beat Van Aert, we beat Malesi, Bissau, plenty of good quality riders, Lenny Martinez as well, but let's kind of one guy beats us. This stage is one of those shorter stages where the field tends to be more aggressive, and that is exactly what they have been today. The peloton's already blowing up, and we've got guys that are fixing to go out the back here pretty quick. We got a really poor race day condition draw also today, like a -7, -8. But the breakaway had too many riders. It was 15. That was part of it. But it's already down to just 1 or 2 riders left at the front. The others have been split off and are coming back, and they only have a 2-minute advantage. And so Salah is getting dropped. Abdullah is getting dropped. And a lot of these guys, we're down to 55, down to 100 maybe. A lot of this I don't see coming back together. Now, the good news is there's only a little bit of undulation between here and the finishing 2 punchy climbs for this one, but with a terrible draw and the way that this field has blown up already, I'm not liking our chances right now. I mean, Salah and Abdullah are our 2 best punchers, but they both have a -3. Free Salam's our next best, but he's got a -2. He's still good enough to be one of our best, even with the -2 today. But Puck just came back from a massive injury. This is his first race in months. And his fitness is building back, but it's only built to a 66 so far. So even when he's got a +3, he doesn't have a +3. That's about a +1, maybe. And nobody's fit to go get water right now. Let's send Harasim to do it. 103 left in the peloton, and 8 as the breakaway came back together, but only a 1 minute advantage. So half of the original break is still away. But now they've been caught. They had nothing left in the tank. I'm surprised they lasted as long as they could. I would attack, but attack with what? We've got nothing. Alright, well, we just got water and there's just over 60k, so I think we're good to go. We are getting some recovery. The pace is definitely not as bad as it was. That means some of these groups can come back, but you can see we are only just barely recovering. I think the groups behind are probably not recovering at all. And so even if they do get back up here, I don't think we're going to see any of those riders affecting the race. But there's still 131 in the peloton. It's just a really, really beat up 131. All right, last hill before we get into the final sequence. We'll get good recovery on this descent, especially with less pace, and we most definitely do. Let's also up the effort and maybe reassess. We only got one guy protecting. We've got Young, we've got Harasim, we've got Pickroll. Pickroll's the one we want. Back up to 150 riders, by the way. And it's still not a ton of pace, but you can see we're coming down. We've been coming down for a while as we go into this penultimate climb. My idea, because we're 13k out, was to use the whole team and already be pushing. But others suddenly are. They are pushing, so it's time to go ahead and push. Puck. So Puck to do some chasing. This sets us up for the final climb anyway. With a descent here, it'll be okay. Getting out front will give us an advantage. 10k to go. But the final climb is 4.1k, 5%, but most of it comes in the first half. So the first 2k is going to be steep, and then the rest of it is where you want to get a big acceleration, push off, and try to go claim victory. So Puck not allowing others to recover here during this descent, keeping them under pressure. Already out of red bar now, but we will get these guys all gelled up. Puck will push on a little bit longer. Like I said, this is the final steep section. I think somewhere around here, a little bit further than here. You'll come around that corner and off you go towards the finish. But Pickroll and Free Salam are still in this thing. Really not liking our odds today, though. But we're almost in this. 1k. Soft sprint for Pickroll. Free Salam. Caught in traffic. Can't get the clean air. Vingegaard. He didn't divvy his line. He's fine, but he did block a sophomore. Gatto takes the win ahead of Vingegaard. Free Salam ran out of red bar anyway, so he would not. He would have gotten ahead of Vingegaard temporarily, but he would have been caught before the line at least. 10th on this stage. This has not been our race, but shows just how important having better riders available to you and better support riders available to you matters, and also shows how important race day condition is. And timing on that last one, right? Because we could have won that. Well, we still have 1 6-star and 4 5.5 stars. The 5-star pool is thinning. It's definitely less guys available, but it's still a lot, so things could change. But 2 weeks in, as we approach La Vuelta, we're still 9th, so it's looking really good at this stage that we will make World Tour. But there's still enough names over there that could upset the apple cart for us and see us in a little bit of trouble. But our guys are pretty high up that list, and a lot of those 5-star guys will not be enough. However, if a team has a 5.5-star guy and another 5-star guy, but that's it, signing a lesser 5-star guy when you add in the 5.5 plus that they might have, that could still be enough to overtake us, right? Sometimes the third rider makes all the difference. So it's not a done deal yet that we're going to make World Tour, but it's looking pretty dang good right now as we're still in the top 10 on the index. So I'm excited by finally making World Tour, and we're looking good. And these are a couple throwaway races anyway, as we are in between with La Vuelta coming up next. That's going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.